conclusions are very difficult to write because while, yes, you want to sum up your findings, you also want to gestures to why your research matters. So it's not just as simple as saying, okay, this is what I researched and this is what I found, thanks, bye. As this slide says, the conclusion to a long research project, like a dissertation or thesis, often seems rather anticlimactic, but it is in fact rather important. Not only are you summarizing the most important elements of your finding, as I was suggesting, but you're also demonstrating how your research can be extrapolated further. So most importantly, if you recall at the beginning of today's session, it's talking about the point of a dissertation or thesis. And one of the points of a dissertation or thesis is so that you can be an apprentice scholar and you can demonstrate your mastery over the subject matter. And then you demonstrate that mastery by proving you've done the work in the literature review section, proving you understand your field by outlining the methodological section, proving you can contribute to that field through your analysis. And in the conclusion, what you are doing is you are proving that the area you've now opened up for study can be extended beyond your initial findings. So ultimately, there may be further research that you want to do. So you've discovered one thing and that one thing has led to something else. Or perhaps because you've clarified a gap in the field, there are now other gaps in the field that you're more aware of. What your research has done is it's opened an avenue for more comparative studies. So perhaps you've looked at something and identified where there's a need to look at other kinds of fields. So most importantly, you want to use the conclusion to not only summarize and demonstrate why your research matters, and the way in which you demonstrate why your research matters is by gesturing to the broader field. This is also an opportunity where you can identify things you wished you could have studied. So often by the time you reach the end of a research project, whether it's a dissertation or even a peer-reviewed article, all you can see as the researcher are the gaps. Nobody else can see them. Nobody else sees the things that you're aware that you might have missed or that you maybe feel bad about or something. But you as the writer are often very in the weeds, and all you can see is, oh my gosh, I should have done X, or I should have done Y, or I missed this, or I missed that. And the conclusion is a place where you can capture some of this. So there may be certain things that are simply out of scope of this particular research project. So a dissertation can't be a 25-year project. So if there are things that you wish you could have studied for a longer period of time, the conclusion might be where you'd say, another fruitful area of research would be to say, follow the test subjects for the next 20 years, for instance. But obviously you're not going to do that for a dissertation. So the conclusion is this really, it's kind of a really fantastic place where you can sum up what you've done, you can demonstrate that you're recognized, an important scholar in the field, making important contributions, but you can also flag things that you wish you had studied, that you wish you could have, that if you're going to do it over again, you might include. So all of those kind of pieces allow you to once again demonstrate your mastery over the field. You understand the broad field in which you're operating. Now, to be fair, at the doctoral level, by the time you reach the conclusion of your dissertation, you will still most likely have a fair dose of imposter syndrome. So all of this is, in many cases, very performative. So you're performing what it is like to be a full-time, absolutely confident scholar. Inside, you may or may not actually feel that way. These component parts of the dissertation and the project and the pieces that I'm giving you in terms of how you can articulate some of the things that you might have doubts about in your conclusion is a performative way to demonstrate your involvement in the field, your paying your dues and becoming part of the club of academics even if, in your heart of hearts, you don't necessarily feel that way. And again, hopefully you do feel absolutely fantastic and confident at the conclusion of your dissertation, or absolutely confident at the conclusion of your journal article or your scholarly manuscript. But if you don't, that's totally okay. These are just the component pieces that can help you to display confidence, even if you don't feel it.